Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to see how to create this multi-step song using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now as you can see, this is my 79th episode of creating JavaScript UI interface from scratch. Now let's see what it does. So if I click on next button, you'll see we will be proceeded to the next step. In that case it is asking name and phone. If I click next again, you'll see again it is taking me to the other step, which is asking for company name and company URL. Let me start from scratch. So on page load you'll see the name and email, and on clicking next it will you'll be directed to the second step, which is step 2. And in case if you feel I would want to go to the step 1, you are free to go. You can just click on the back button, and again you can navigate forward and backward with the back and next button on each step. Fine. To follow along, I'll leave the source code in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste it and start along with me. Let's start coding. And just a quick intro about my JavaScript playlist. Now you can see we are at the episode number 79. So in case if you want to learn JavaScript from scratch, I would recommend you to start episode from 1. I have what do you say? I have patiently proceeded from step 1, which is episode 1, to episode 79, and the episode 79 is slightly advanced, and it is a mixture of all the 3 elements, which is like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So in case if you are a very beginner and you don't know anything about HTML, CSS and JavaScript, I would recommend you to start from scratch. Or else if you are just a intermediate, or you are a fairly okay with HTML, CSS and JavaScript, then let's start diving into the code. The very first thing, as we all know, we need 3 files to start this project. We need HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now I'll show you the folder which I have created, HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And now we need to create a HTML file. I'm going to name it as demo.html. Let's just save this on the same folder, demo.html. And we need a CSS file. I'm going to name it as demo.css. And we need another file which is a script file. I'm going to name it as demo.js. So the extension is important. We don't have to worry about the name. We just have to worry about the extension, that is .html, .css and .javascript. Fine. Now exclamatory tab. So just to give you a quick overview of the HTML, we have a body. Inside the body we have a container. So what you see as a blue gradient, it's actually a container. So let's create a container, and inside the container we have a holder, which is slider holder, and inside the slider holder we have sliders. We have 3 of them. So to uniquely identify, I have given slider 1, slider 2 and slider 3, the class. Now each of them have their individual form group in the sense each of them will have input field. Let me just copy paste it just to save time. So if you see, it's just a form group, and each form group has label and input field. I have not given class to any of it, just the form group, then we have label and input, again the form group, we have a button. The same way for rest of the slider. And for the third one, cool. As of now we want to hide the rest 2 slider just to take care of our CSS. Let me just show you HTML. We have named the file as demo.html. So this is how HTML looks like. So for our CSS part, we will be using the font called Poppins. So let me just copy paste the font Poppins, and for all the element I have removed margin and padding, and for all element I have given the font called Poppins. Now I have given the body width and height of 100% of vertical height, and to center it I have given display flex, align header center and justify content center. Align item center will vertically align the item at the center. Now if I just show you the HTML, we have not linked the style sheet on our HTML, so let's just link it. It's just demo.css. So now if you see, the background has got styled, so whatever is there in the center, it's because of these three lines of code. So I want it to be at the vertically aligned center and then horizontally aligned center. So now we are at the center of the div, and now we have background. And if we are asking about the CSS hierarchy, let me just create one. Alright, this is the CSS hierarchy. Now we have a container. We can give the height of 400 pixel and width of 400 pixel, and let's just give the background color as white, and whatever is there in the container, so I don't think we have to worry about the container for now, because we have whatever is needed, we have given it. So cool. So we have got the width and height. Now if you want border radius, you can have border radius. Just to get rid of the sharp edges, we can give 5 pixel, 15 pixel on all sides. So you can see, instead of sharp edges, we are getting the smooth edges. Now whatever is there inside the container, I want it to be at the center. So display flex, align item center, and justify content center. Now what I need is, I want some space, so call the form group and give padding top and bottom 1 rem. Just to see the effect, let's just give background color red, so you can see it's not taking the full width. It's because we have not given width 100 percentage. We just need to know the font is inside of slider. I think it's because, let's just take the padding. No, I don't think it won't work. So let that be once. Now let me just uncomment the rest of the element just to see where we stay. So you can see this is first slider, second slider, and third slider. So who is the container of the slider? It's definitely the slider holder. So let's just give display flex. So instead of one below other, you'll be getting side by side. And let's just give width of 1200 pixel. As we all know, individual slider will have a width of 400 pixel. Cool. And now let the container have the position relative, so that we can use position absolute on the slider container. Let's just give left of 0. Cool. Now let's just get rid of this red color, or else let's just have a slight opacity, so that we know we have the rest two sliders side by side. Now let's just comment this. Now let's just style the form group. So whatever is there inside, I want it to be at the display flex, align item center, which will vertically align, and justify content space between. And now you can give padding to the slider, so that will affect the form group as well. 2 rem. On top and bottom, let that be 0, and left and right 2 rem. And let the button, let's just work on the button. Padding of 1 rem, top and bottom 0.5 rem, left and right 1 rem. And let the background color be red as of now, or you can give cyan. And let's just remove the border, none. So actually this should be on hover. So let's just create the hover state and copy paste the CSS. And for the normal state, let that be border 1 pixel solid black. Refresh it. So actually it's overriding it, so it should be on hover. So when I hover, you can see the effect. And let the pointer be cursor. So actually it's cursor pointer. When I hover, you'll see the cursor. And now whatever is there inside the form group, so that's fine if I think. So let's just make this who is the holder of the button. So I have added a class to the form holder, so you can see the form holder has a class called button holder. So for that, let's just give display flex, align item center, and justify content. In this time, not space between, it's just space around. And now only for the button group it is getting affected, not on the rest of the form group. If you know, the form group also has the class, sorry, the button container also has the class form group. So to override it, I have added a new class and I have given the justify contents phase around accordingly. Cool, that seems to be working. Now it's time for the progress bar. So the progress bar is also very simple. Let me just copy the code. It's just a straightforward div which is inside of container, not on this slider holder. So we have a progress. Inside the progress we have 4 div. The first one is bar, the steps has the text step 1, step 2 and step 3. So let me write the CSS for it. We have progress div. Inside progress div we have bar, and then we have steps. So this should have position absolute, top of 0, left of 0, width of 100%, height of 50 pixel. Let me just give background color so that we can see. -dev. And whatever is there inside, I want to do at the center. So display flex, align item center, justify content center. So now you will see it's at the center. So each step will have a width of 33.33% because we have 300 divided by 3. So I want, let's just format it so that you don't get confusion. And now this is 133%, and I want the steps to be at the center. Again, display flex, align item center, justify content center. So now they are at the center. Now let's just design the bar. This bar again will have position absolute, left of 0, top of 0, but width of just 33%, 33.33%. And not to forget, let's just give the background color as cyan and Z index as 99. We have not given the height, that's why it's not showing up. Height of 100%, 50 pixel. And where is steps? Let's just give the Z index for this as 100 or something thousand. So as I progress to the next step, I'll be giving 66, I'll be giving 1000, 100 and so on. So for the first step, let there be 33%, and don't forget to add transition or else you won't see the animation. Smooth movement. And this transition should be also there for the holder, which is slider holder, or else we will be seeing a quick jerk. Alright, now we need to style the input field as well. Border as none, and border bottom 1 pixel solid black. Cool. And once I focus on it, I'm getting the outline none. Let me just make that none, so when I focus it, you won't see any outline. Now the only problem is we have this kind of style, but here it's this kind of style. Now we have to get into the form group. So instead of making this, let there be display flex, but make this flex column and horizontally aligned. Let's just make this flex start and get the input field and give the width of 100%. And that's it from CSS end. Let's just get into the JavaScript part. Now let me just take all the initializing part to this code. So we have slider 1, slider 2, slider 3 and the slider holder. Let me just check, let me just cross check with the spelling. This is slider holder. And then we have next one, next two, back to back. What are these? So if you see, let me just control minus. So now there is some CSS part we just need to focus on. You can see on the button group it got overridden. So get into the button group. Button group is over here, which is button holder. Now we have to make this flex column, flex direction row only for these buttons. So fine. So back to the CSS. Sorry, back to the JavaScript. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 button. So this is, I have given the name as, I have given the ID to each button. So this is next one. As the name says next, I have given next one. So this is next two, as the name says next two. This is back one, and this is back two. And finally, we don't have to worry about submit in the client scripting session. Now we will be just working on the position. So let me just show you. Get into the button holder. Since we have given the slider holder position, so let me just give the left of 400 pixel. So this is second step. If we make this 800, so this is third step. So to get into the first step, this is first, this is second, and this is third. So just by looking at the screen, you would have guessed it what I am going to do. On the first next click, we'll be going to the minus 400 pixel. On the second next click, we'll be going to the minus 800 pixel. Let me just write that code. For the first next click, let me add an event listener. Which is click. Let me just add a function. So on click, I want the slide holder. Get the left style, which is style dot left, and we'll be giving minus 400 pixel to it. The same way for the next two button, we'll be giving it minus 800. And before adding anything, we just need to remove if there is anything. So let me just give 0. Let's check the buttons. So you can see the overflow. What you can do is get into the style, and you can give overflow hidden. For now, I'll show you how to get it. If I click next, it's not working. Let me just get into the JavaScript, and if there is any error, we'll be getting it. The most common error is we have not linked our script file, which is demo.js. Refresh it. Next, and here you go. So these are the next buttons are working. Next. Now we need to focus on the back button. So the same way, instead of next it's going to be back 1 and back 2. Cool. Next, now let's just see on first black click what it should do. It should be a 0 pixel. Refresh it. On first black click it should be 0. Cool. On second it should be, I think it should be minus 400. Yep, minus 400. Cool. Next, next, back, back. Now instead of having overflow hidden, we have to make this overflow hidden on the container. Next, next, back, back. Now in the demo.css, instead of the one final thing is remaining, which is the bar. So if I click on next, I want the bar to have style of width of which is 66%. On the second next click it should reach the 100. So on first back click it should go back to 0, sorry, which is 33 on start position. On second back click it should go to 66. Next, next, back, back. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Meet you in the next episode.